watch some scary videos. Yeah, and it's now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah.
You'll see some reaction. Right? Oh. Okay. Oh my God. As you all know, I have the camera record myself. Stop it.
You're blocking it.
Oh, okay. Stop it.
Yeah.
I made my
Good.
way to the front of the house and started heading upstairs to the bedroom. I walked slowly, trying not to make too much noise.
This is
But the stairs were
creepy.
very creaky, so it took me
As hell, guys. As damn hell.
What's that?
thing was completely dark.
Wait, stop over there. Stop over there, look.
Every light sleeper. Still, I hadn't been caught yet. I made my way to the front of the house and started heading upstairs to the bedroom. I walked slowly, trying not to make too much noise, but the stairs were very creaky, so it took me a little while. When I finally got to the hallway, the whole thing was completely dark. I could barely see in front of me. I got to the bedroom and opened the door as softly as I could. Then I shut it behind me and crawled into bed. About a minute later, I heard the door creak open.
Hey!
No one answered, so I turned on the side table lamp, only to find my girlfriend staring at me. She looked creepy as hell. I screamed out of shock and asked her what was wrong. Next thing I knew, we were locked in a shouting match. She started accusing me of infidelity and told me that she knew what I had been doing. I didn't deny it, which somehow seemed to make it even worse. She started to get hysterical, so I tried to physically calm her down by grasping her shoulders. But that made her go completely berserk. She pushed me away and started sobbing as she ran downstairs. I didn't really know what to do, but she was so crazy at that moment that I figured the best thing was to just leave her alone. I laid in bed and could still hear her crying downstairs. I felt guilty as hell. Hours went by as I laid there waiting to see if she would come back, but she never did. I finally couldn't stay awake any longer and I passed out completely.
Yeah, he did.
Later that night, I was fast asleep when I was suddenly startled awake by something. I wasn't sure what it had been. It sounded like the door had creaked open again. I sat up for a second and looked around the room, but it was too dark to see anything.
Hello?
I figured it had just been my imagination, so I laid back down and went back to sleep almost immediately. All of a sudden, I was awakened by a horrifying wail out of nowhere. I jerked up, totally disoriented, and went to turn the lamp on. I was still mostly asleep, so I fumbled with the switch for a few seconds before I actually got it turned on. I was not expecting what I saw. My girlfriend was standing over me completely motionless like a total psycho. It was just like the last time, but she looked so much more deranged. The look in her eyes sent chills down my spine. I screamed really freaked out saying,
What the hell are you doing? You scared the shit out of me!
That's when I noticed that she was holding a knife. I froze for a minute. I just couldn't believe it. My brain couldn't process what was happening. She then started running towards me with the knife over her head, looking completely insane.
911, what's your emergency? Please send help! My boyfriend is hurt! Oh my god! I think he might be dead! Please hurry!
The police arrived a few minutes after she hung up the phone. They found Barbie standing in the room covered in blood and tears. Her boyfriend was taken out in a stretcher and immediately rushed to the hospital, where he later died of his injuries. Police questioned her about what had happened. She never went into much detail. All she said was that she came home and found her boyfriend on the floor. She didn't give any insight into how it could have happened.
Liar,
The cops who
pants to
questioned
fire.
her recalled how calm
Yeah,
she
liar,
remained
liar,
throughout the
pants to
entire
fire.
ordeal. She hardly
Yeah.
expressed any emotion at all. After further investigation, the police
Hello,
located
Ma.
a knife in the room that had Barbie's fingerprints all over it. She was later arrested and charged accordingly.
It's
They
good
determined
fail.
that she had fabricated the story
Is that
in
to
order
kill
to
a man
save
alive?
herself. This story was inspired by a fatal incident that happened around October of 2022.
Who don't
The
hear the
British
feel?
OnlyFans model who the internet
Wait, what you
knows as
watching?
Fake
Look
Barbie
at it.
was sentenced
Look
to
at it.
18 years for her heinous actions towards her ex-boyfriend. The animation pretty much sums up what went down in a nutshell. The incident happened just hours after leaving The woman claims it was an act of self-defense, but prior to these claims, she told the operator that her boyfriend accidentally injured himself.
I don't remember what happened earlier that day, only that it was dark and gloomy and rained the whole time, so I couldn't stay awake. After a moment, I figured out I was still in my classroom, except someone said, "Oh." I rubbed my eyes and looked around. Everyone looked like they were about to cry. "Is everybody okay?" They all ignored me. It was like the life had been sucked out of them. Even the class clown looked like he didn't want to say anything, but I knew he would if I pushed him. Psst. Hey, Ralph, are we in detention? I will when your mom invites me over. I'm being serious, idiot.
Stop talking or Miss Frizzle's gonna hear us.
Can someone tell me what's going on? Are we in recess or something?
Recess? What makes you think this is recess?
You would know what's going on if you stopped coming to class stoned, Ginger. Why don't you take that cap off and show your bald spot? Shut up. Your mom likes my bald spot. Does it count if I was bald downstairs? Carlos! Just as we started getting comfortable, Miss Frizzle broke down the door. Suddenly, all the smiles were gone. Nobody dared to make a sound. But then, once I adjusted my glasses and got a better look at her, I started to understand.
Hello, class. Is everyone ready for a lesson in human anatomy?
Yes, Miss Frizzle.
Good. Front and center next to my deflated balloons, my little rodents.
We hurried to Miss Frizzle's desk as she started unloading an ungodly amount of food.
Doesn't all this food look scrumptious, class?
Yes, Miss Frizzle.
Well, not as scrumptious as my OnlyFans. I guess it's too bad you're all a bunch of low IQ elementary school dropouts.
We're sorry, Miss Frizzle.
I'm gonna show you idiots what your daddy should have done to your mothers.
She started devouring everything right in front of us, cramming whole fistfuls of food into her mouth like a psychopath. We all just had to watch. Of course, the lesson wasn't over yet.
Question 1. Can any of you tell me what a bowel movement is?
Of course, everybody looked at me like I knew the answer, and I had no choice but to give my best guess. Is it to bow and move at the same time? Wrong! Is it when a bunch of A's, E's, I's, O's, and U's hold up signs and march in the street? Roar! My mom said bowel movements are the special pearl she uses when my dad is out of town.
Carlos! Wrong again for the 3rd time! That's it! We're all going on a field trip right now!
That's when the magic school bus appeared out of thin air and opened for us to climb inside. Miss Frizzle then opened the door for us as none of us had a clue what we were in for. Terrified, I found a seat and braced myself. Then out of nowhere, Miss Frizzle suddenly locked the door on us. Wait, aren't you coming inside?
Inside, you say?
Before I could ask what she meant, the magic school bus shrank in size, and not much more than just a fourth dimension, some kind of awful realm of putrid air and rotten surroundings. We all pinched our noses, trying to escape the most horrible smell imaginable. We were in a dark tunnel where the walls were all gooey pink with a sticky coat of this greenish-brown stuff. It was like a bad cave except worse. It was a crap cave, but then we landed. We were expected to get out and explore.
With my
Found some flashlights and stepped outside.
She
The
is so
ground
ugly.
was
Ugly
squishy,
and she
and we were
mother.
surrounded by these piles or puddles of sludge. None of us wanted to venture far from the bus.
Piece of
But then
shit.
Miss Frizzle's voice echoed loudly throughout the cave saying,
None of you rodents could tell me what a bowel movement was. So now, it's time to teach you all a valuable lesson. Magic School Bus, you can come out now.
What?
No! Don't leave us here!
As we watched the school bus fly away and disappear, the reality quickly set in that there was nothing we could do to avoid what was about to happen. The ground began to shake as a rumbling grew in the distance. At the other end of the tunnel, a white light appeared as a pinhole at first, and we all started running toward it, but it was too late to escape.
Here comes the McDonald's.
A torrent of foul air rushed past along with a raining river of brown sludge. Carlos, house was the first to be washed away, but the storm was only getting worse.
And now the Popeyes.
The river became a full-on flood up to our waists, and Wanda and Keisha couldn't hold their footing and were carried past me and Ralphie. By then we were coated in it. It was like none of us were able to withstand the powerful stench of the cracking tsunami. Then, out of nowhere, Ralphie got hit by a huge boulder. A ton. I don't even want to know.
Oh crap, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Are you the last one standing, Arnold?
No, I mean, I'm technically sitting.
That means you getting Taco Bell.
No, Miss Frizzle, please, anything but that.
Too late. I already popped 10 laxatives before class.
Then, I got ready to get hit by the largest, most disgusting load, the Tex-Mex tsunami.
Phew. It's the last time I'm ever getting Taco Bell. Alright, time for the next lesson.
We couldn't even get to see the faces.
The serpent dancing lady nightmare. Oh shit.
The Caribbean dancing lady. Hey, they went close to the Caribbean. Shout out to the Caribbean dancing.
Caribbean dancing.
I'm going for a jog.
Okay, don't stay out too late.
Come the flip back boy.
Don't worry, I'll be back soon.
Come the fuck boy.
Hey, what?
The fucking
That was it? Yeah, right.
Okay,
Go on.
try for 3 miles this time.
So you have done so that you in shit. 8 a.m.
3 a.m. Dumbass. I don't know dumbass.
Ow! What the hell? Hey,
behind
did you
you.
throw this? Keep running, fatty! Hey, stop that! Or what? You gonna catch us? Yeah, get back here! Ow! Damn! Come
God.
back here, you punks!
What a bunch of jerks. Can't believe this crap. Oh. What do you want, man? Jeez, who pissed in your cereal? It's nothing. What's up? You want to play some COD? Nah, not right now. I'm running. Running? Why would you make yourself suffer like that? I'm trying to get into shape, man. I don't want to be a couch potato playing Call of Duty all day forever. I want to be clubbing, dance with some babes. What a load of bull. You don't even know how to approach a dancing chick. Only because I've never had any practice. Do you think people just magically get good at talking to girls? Well, you've never even... What did you say? You cut out. Hello? Whatever. Gross. I should just give up and go home to shower. No, that's what those jerks want. I'll keep going, X and all.
Hey, Caribbean dancing lady.
Where did she come from? And what are they doing in the middle of the road? Is this another stupid prank? No, but what kind of dance is that? Some kind of Fortnite emote? Stop that. Don't think about a dumb video game right now. This is the moment to practice talking to dancing chicks. It's perfect. She's right there and nobody's around, so if I screw up, nobody will see. Alright, now I should stop talking to myself while I'm creepy. I'm like I'm covered in raw eggs.
Look at them.
She looks a little older than I thought. What's she wearing? Where are her shoes? Okay, don't miss out. Hey, how's your night going? Hello? What kind of dance is that?
Really nice.
You should have never left your mother alone.
What? I didn't. I just left. What are you talking about?
Don't you make that wrong. Supposed to have a rope. You make it wrong. You guys should go out. Yeah, make a wife die, children die, everyone die.
Oh God! Please don't still be out there.
Hey, she's still out there dancing.
Why is this happening to me? Just
Just leave me alone. You're not getting in here.
She on teleport.
Oh, she got possessed.
Help me. Mom? Mom? What's going on? Mom? No, not you two. Please, stop. Why are you doing this? I don't understand. Please just look at me.
This story was inspired by a video of the Serbian lady captured by a group of teenagers near the city hospital. As shown in the clip, the woman's dance moves are always similar and strange looking, like the rest of the clips you see of her online. Here, you can see that she dances alone in the middle of the road, or somewhere, and when she sees someone filming her, the woman chases them with a knife, which is very scary to watch and confront in real life. Since the videos have been released to the internet, no one has a clue about her appearance, looks, and where she's from, so the attributes of her age currently need to be added to public sources. But from a few testimonies of some witnesses, they describe her to be a very old, creepy, decaying woman that looks like she's more dead than alive.
Guys, this is very scary though.
Scary,
Look, this video is very scary.
My family is very religious. I have a wife and a daughter named Cassie. We attend church every Sunday and say our prayers before bed every night. That's just how I grew up. My entire family is like that. Even my cousins, aunts, and uncles. Every weekend we would all get together and pray for each other and for what was going on around us. We didn't think about it too much. It's just what we did. Everyone in each of our households was raised the same. It's how I was raising my daughter. All the parents in the family would enroll their kids in Catholic schools, and I did the same. I pushed Cassie to go to the local priest classes, just like everyone else in the family. We were very big on tradition. I did what my parents did, and they did what their parents did. I didn't think about it too much, and the priest always seemed very friendly. Everyone in the church was pretty chill, honestly. I would take my daughter and a few of the other kids in the family to the priest classes twice a week. It started out fine, but before long, something unusual started to happen. Every time I dropped Cassie off, she would start to cry. The other students would do the same. I just figured it was because they'd rather be playing outside. But something about the way they cried seemed strange. It was like they were scared as hell of the church. I didn't think too much of it at first. This was around the time The Conjuring came out, so the older folks assumed it was due to the film and all the scary nuns in the movie that all the kids were freaking out from. Honestly, I would have just let my daughter stop going into classes, but I knew how the rest of my family would react. I just followed the traditions and figured Cassie would grow out of the scared phase she was in. The problem was, she was also having nightmares every night about some monster. She wouldn't really tell me what they were about, but I could tell they were always the same. That probably wasn't helping in the situation. For the longest time, it kept being the same thing. Each time I dropped Cassie off, she would be scared out of her mind. There was nothing I could do to console her. She acted like I was dropping her off to see Pennywise. That's how bad it was. Then, after I picked her up, she would be so quiet and stay in her room drawing all day. She barely responded when I spoke to her, and every night, she would have nightmares about the same monster. This went on for a while. One day later on, I picked up Cassie from the church, and she was even worse than usual. Hey, how was class? Did you learn anything new? She didn't say 2 words to me on the way home, and when we got there, she practically sprinted up to her room. Once again, she drew pictures for the rest of the day. She would never show me what she was drawing either. I asked her about it once, and she told me.
And not for you.
I was really starting to think that something strange was going on. I knew I had to do something. One night, Cassie was at class along with the other students, and I decided to see what she had been drawing. She always hid the drawings after she finished them, so I never had the chance to see them before. But this time, I was determined to find her. I looked in the usual hiding places. I looked under her bed, in the drawers, and under the mattress, but I couldn't find the drawings anywhere. I searched her room for a good 15 minutes until I found a huge stack of papers inside a big book on her shelf. They were all drawings. There must have been 100 of them. When I started looking through them, and creeped me the hell out. They were all of a monster-like figure hovering and creeping over a lying figure. The pictures varied slightly in the colors and surroundings, but they were all basically the same. Every single one had the same large stooping figure with a strange flowing body. It reminded me of a huge vulture staring down at its next meal. I figured these must all be the pictures of the monster from her nightmares, and I didn't blame her for being scared. The drawing gave me chills. I couldn't believe that they were my daughters. These weren't your typical child scribbles. I kept looking through the pile of papers until I noticed something that scared me even more. There was a familiar-looking shape in the upper right corner of one of the drawings. When I looked at it more closely, I realized it was a cross. I had no idea what a cross would be doing in all of these drawings of a monster. But then I noticed there was a cross in every single one of the drawings. I couldn't believe it. The cross obviously symbolized the church, and it was all over Cassie's drawings of the monster. I didn't know what to think, but once I saw the cross, then everything else in the picture started to make sense, and the monster looked like it was wearing the robes of a priest. After the initial shock wore off, I called the police.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm calling about a priest in my church. The priest was arrested soon after. Since then, no one has heard anything about him. I think the church tried to cover it up, but I'll tell you this much. No one in my family enrolls in the classes conducted at that church anymore. This story was inspired by an incident that happened in 2016. A victim had repeatedly expressed that they no longer wanted to be a part of attending a priest's classes. After constantly displaying the same behavior, the victim was removed from the classes. But what makes the story more disturbing was the discovery of 6 bizarre drawings hidden amongst the victim's books. Here's an image of the first one. Here's an image of the second one. The drawings are pretty bizarre and downright terrifying, as it looks like a monster-like figure hovering over someone. After disclosing the drawings to law enforcement, it later led to the arrest of the 54-year-old priest.
I live alone downtown, and a few days ago I had my first real run-in with one of the crazies. Coincidentally, it has to do with the Barbie movie that just came out recently, which was an extra shock to me. I've been living here for a few years, and up until now, I haven't been bothered too much. Being a 6-foot-tall man helps, and I own a big dog too, although she's timid and completely harmless. I work through the day, so the first thing I do when I get home in the evening is take my dog for a walk, since she's been holding it in since the morning. Walking in the evening is definitely my preference, as there aren't as many people out as there are in the daytime, and it isn't until late at night when the real sketchy stuff usually happens. I never pay any mind to the junkies or walkers or whoever else is out there. The unspoken rule in any downtown is not to make eye contact with anybody, especially the people that are obviously unstable in some way. I never gave change to anyone who was begging either, but I always try to keep $1 in my pocket in case I encountered someone crazy. One night, I remember getting home from work and taking my dog out for a walk right after sunset. I didn't know that I wouldn't be the same when I got back from that walk. It started out like any other downtown stroll. There were people all over the sidewalk, but not too many, although the street was congested with traffic. However, once I rounded a certain corner, things changed. Nobody was on the sidewalk on my side of the road. Everybody was on the other side, hurrying along for some reason. That's when I noticed a strange blonde-haired woman on the other end of the block, wearing a bunch of sticky hot pink clothes, except it was clear even at a distance that this woman was not hot whatsoever. She was standing awkwardly, kind of like she was a junkie in a trance, and holding what looked like a sign to ask for money. Obviously, her outfit didn't suit her, so I assumed she was homeless, and this was some sort of Barbie getup she was using to piggyback off the movie promotions as an aid for panhandling. With that in mind, I didn't think anything of it. She was just another one of those people to avoid acknowledging when walking downtown. I kept walking, waiting for a chance to cross the street. There was no crosswalk between me and her, and I didn't think the situation was serious enough to turn around and jump out in front of the cars that were passing. Before long, I was closer to her than I wanted to be, and certain details came into focus. No Barbie outfit could save this woman. Even a professional makeover wouldn't be enough. Her face was seriously disturbing. as if she was a plastic Barbie doll that got ran over by a semi-truck and left to rot in a ditch for 100 years, just to get resurrected as a zombie and sent to live on the streets. Beside that, all the skin she was bearing looked like a snake skin she was ready to shed at any moment. Still, I kept moving, and eventually stepped in broken glass. I was concerned if my dog stepped in it. It was obvious that it came from the broken window right next to me, which meant it had just happened. By that point, I was getting alarmed. This wannabe Barbie was up to something that was scaring everyone off to the other side of the street, and I was walking straight into whatever it was, completely oblivious. Then for the first time since I'd been looking at her, the woman moved, turning to the side, and that's when I realized she was not holding a sign, but a wooden plank. Before I could even wonder what she was doing with it, she suddenly swung at the glass door beside her and started smashing it with the plank. My dog got scared of the noise and whimpered. There was still no brake in the cars, so I grabbed onto the leash a little tighter and pressed forward, foolishly thinking I could make a run for it if I had to. A very stupid part of me was hoping I could just walk past her without her noticing and call it a day, but my blood was pumping as I got near her. Of course, it was like she could smell my fear. As I passed her, she stopped beating on the door, then turned around and looked at me. For some reason, I couldn't keep myself from making eye contact with her. Her eyes were glazed over and bloodshot. I reached for the dollar in my pocket, praying that it would get me out of the situation somehow. But then she just charged at me. I ran with my dog, sprinting as fast as I could, but I didn't know what this woman was on, because as I looked over my shoulder, I saw that she was catching up to me. I tried to run even faster, but then I lost my footing and tumbled over. I also lost my grip on the leash, and my dog didn't even notice. She just kept on going, but I didn't even have time to call her, let alone get to my feet. That Barbie freak was hovering over me in an instant, scowling with the rotten mess of a face. She raised the plank over her head like a baseball bat, ready to smash my face in.
Now I'll become death, destroyer of...
I was saved in the nick of time when a cop tackled her like a truck. I didn't even see it. I was shielding my face with my hands, but I heard the impact. Then there was a lot more screaming as a few more cops swarmed over and put her under arrest. It was a whole spectacle that everyone on the street stopped to gawk at. The sight of the most messed up Barbie you've ever seen getting dragged away by the police. Ever since then, I've been terrified of Barbie. This story was inspired by an incident that happened in July of 2023. Just a month ago, a woman who appeared to be dressed up as Barbie was spotted on camera in downtown Toronto, attacking a man who was walking his dog. The woman was later arrested as shown in the video here. There hasn't been a motive as to what triggered the attack, but it was rather ironic as the Barbie movie had just been released a few days prior to the incident.
Uncle, the cinema was running, I was doing this. Take a look. Everything on.
Good one, day. Look, I want some strawberry. Take a strawberry.
I went on a vacation to Serbia last month. It was a solo trip and I found a pretty good deal on a hotel room. It was pretty chill in the beginning, honestly. I spent most of my time in the room surfing the internet when I wasn't out sightseeing. It was there that I came across a rumor going viral about a phenomenon called the dancing lady, who terrorizes people at night. I was extremely skeptical, but I decided I would check it out to see if it was true later that night. I had brought my camera with me, so I figured I would record everything I saw for proof for the rest of the day. I got a little antsy while I waited for the sun to go down, and for it to be late enough for me to explore. I was sure that none of the rumors were true, but I still felt pretty nervous about going out that late at night. I killed time by watching TV, and looking at a little hole in the couch chair until it was time. When it was finally dark enough, I grabbed my camera and headed out. I then started walking the streets of Serbia, looking for any evidence of this supposed dancing lady. It was around 1 or 2 a.m. and completely deserted. There was nothing around. I guess everyone was asleep by that point. It was practically pitch black too. The only light was from the street lamps and the reflective light shining from the moon in the sky. I felt a little uneasy as I was in a different country and I didn't know what to expect. I started feeling like my paranoia was getting to me, like I was being watched. For a second, I thought about turning back, but I decided to go through with it because I was sure that it was all in my head. As I walked around the area with my camera, I didn't see a thing.
That shit
I was startled by a few rats at one point, but other than that, I was apparently the only living thing out there at that time of night. After a couple hours, I was ready to call it a night. After I saw a figure ahead of me, I couldn't make out who or what this figure was. All I saw was that it was moving awkwardly. I started to move in a little closer and get a better glance at this thing.
I don't care. With
And then
the
a little
photo.
closer, and then a little more closer, until I could make out that the figure was some woman dancing like a lunatic. If I had to describe it, I would say that it looked like someone vomiting while flailing their arms wildly. It was like no dancing that I had ever seen before. The movements were jerky and random, and it didn't look fully human. I got even closer, and by this point I was totally mesmerized by this woman. I began to film her, scared out of my mind at the idea that this could be the woman that everyone was talking about. Then she slowly turned around to face me. That's when I was greeted by the scariest face I had ever seen. She was giving me this giant, terrifying smile that made her look like some sort of demon. I was scared out of my mind and felt frozen to the spot where I stood. The woman slowly moved towards me. Then she suddenly emitted a piercing shriek that made me wince at the sheer volume of it. She looked me dead in the eyes, and with the same horrifying smile on her face, she said,
Your mother's soul is mine.
She then pulled knives out of nowhere and began to run straight at me. I decided to get the hell out of there and run as fast as I could in the opposite direction. I could hear her chasing me, and I forced myself to go even faster. I ran non-stop for what felt like forever. I finally made it to my hotel and ran inside. I didn't stop until I was in my room with the door locked behind me. I looked out of the window to see if the woman had followed me there, but I saw nothing. The street was empty. I watched the footage from my camera to make sure that I wasn't going crazy, but it was all there. I was still amazed, but also creeped the hell out. It just looked so unnatural. The scream was still ringing in my ears. I decided to go to bed to try to sleep it off. Later that night, I was still awake. I had been tossing and turning all night. I couldn't get what the woman had said about my mother out of my mind. Her soul was hers. What the hell did that even mean? I decided to call my mom despite it being 4:30 in the morning. I just needed to be sure she was okay. But when I called her, I heard the most shocking thing ever. My mom picked up and started crying like a maniac.
Mom, what is it? What's wrong?
Hello, sir. Please open the door. We have important news that we need to disclose to you. Hello, sir. You need to answer the door or we're going to have to open it ourselves.
Sir, are you alright? I'm so sorry, but your father just called and said he's been trying to get in touch with you. Your mother's passed away unexpectedly. I'm so sorry for your loss.
No! Why? Why?
It's okay, sir. You're gonna be alright.
This story was inspired by an incident that happened to a Serbian man who claimed to embark on his own investigation when hearing about others' encounters with strange phenomenon. Upon his investigation, he brought a camera out and ventured out into the streets of Serbia. A woman who appeared to be dancing in the same peculiar manner as portrayed online. Upon realizing his presence, the woman then shouted at the man, saying something in the lines of, "Your mother's soul is mine." Frightened, the man immediately left the scene and stayed put in his hotel room. Since then, the woman has caused a frenzy amongst the online world, triggering a surge in searches for additional information.
That was my sister. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Sorry, please,
anyone think I should use Rogaine? I could use a hairline again. Maybe my ex-wife will want me again. Yep. I remember seeing this smelly guy at the sauna one time sweating bricks and making a puddle on the floor. When I asked him what his secret was, he told me he drank beer beforehand and broke the seal. I still don't get how he was able to sweat a puddle so fast. Yep. No one listens to me. Sure is a nice day out, ain't it, fellas?
Hank, since when did you become a weatherman? You've gone soft, and this beer you brought tastes like piss.
Don't disrespect me on my own front lawn, Dale. If you want to complain about the free beer I'm providing you, then go buy your own.
Now, don't get your panties all bunched up in your butt crack, Hank. I'm just offering you some free advice not to buy this foreign crap again.
Yo, don't say that word on the camera, bro.
Anyway, I bought it in bulk at a discount because Peggy won't let me put it in the fridge.
Jesus, you're more whipped up than my wife's ice cream pasties. And I ain't talking about dessert.
Well, with all three freeloaders drinking on it all the time, I'm sure it'll be gone quicker than you think.
Hank, y'all better not leave the whole front lawn a mess again. Last time you and your friends had your little meeting, the ground was more cigarette butts and beer cans than grass.
Will you leave me alone for 5 goddamn minutes, woman? I got 2 days off a week, and I gotta spend them working for you? Why don't you give me a break before you break my back?
Hey, how are you gonna talk to me like that when you don't do a thing around the house except make it dirtier?
Dang old enough of your bickering and flaring when we men. God's sake, I'll have to listen to dropping the dang old application Dr. Phil's couples therapy. God. He's right, Peggy. Let's not bring our problems out in front of the whole neighborhood.
Fine. Come inside and we'll talk about this when you're ready to be with your own family and not with the Mount Rushmore of Bud Light. Really got yourself a ball buster there, Hank.
You're one to talk, Dale. Why, I oughta...
Shh. Quiet down. Look who's coming, fellas. Now, that's a woman right there. Is that what your wife used to look like, Hank? I think I get it now.
Dale, that's my niece, and she's half your age.
Even better. Does she have an OnlyFans?
Oh, what did you just say? Oh, man, I hope she does. I'll help her film those videos.
You and me both, brother.
We should all subscribe. Someone look it up right now.
Bill, you idiot. What's the point of us all getting it if we can have just one of us share it with the rest?
Dale, if you want to watch crap like that, then you could have been watching your wife fornicating with Redcorn for the last 12 years.
Hey, you watch it, Hank.
And Boomhauer, if I ever hear you say something like that again, I will personally pour propane down your throat and light a match in your mouth. You hear me? And Bill, you moron, just stay out of my gene pool. You got that?
Hey, Dad.
What?
Actually, never mind. See what you did, Hank? Your little estrogenic episode just scared the pants off your own little boy. Ain't you gonna apologize for scaring him?
You're right, Dale. I'm sorry, Bobby. I didn't mean to yell at you like that. What is it you wanted to ask?
You're all right, Dad. I just wanted to ask if I could have one of those new beers you bought.
What? Maybe if you start growing some hair on your chest or that pecker of yours, then we can talk about you drinking a beer. Now, don't ever ask again, boy. Now, why don't you go grab another case from the garage and bring it out here?
Fine. Dad just knows I can outdrink him. You seem pretty upset, Hank.
I'm surrounded by dumbasses.
Why don't we change the subject then?
Fine. What do you want to talk about?
I'd like to know Luann's only... if Luann has a job.
I don't know. Ask Peggy.
Would Peggy know if she got a boyfriend?
I don't know. Why don't you just act like she does?
All right. I will. Does she got an OnlyFans?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, come on. You know.
No, I don't. And if I did, I would keep it for myself.
So she does.
What? Are you even listening?
Here you go, Dad. I tell you what, Hank. Whichever one of us drinks the most beer is gonna win this little spat. If you win, we'll agree that Luann is a sweet, innocent girl and she doesn't have an OnlyFans. If me, Boom, or Bill win, then one of us gets her at. Deal?
Fine, but I'm only doing this because I know she ain't got one. Bobby!
Yes, Dad?
Keep them coming. I'm gonna show you fools that one of us is the real king of the hill. It's gonna be me.
We'll see about that. Get to drinking, boys.
I'm the king of the hill.
No, I'm the king of the hill.
No, I'm the king of the... That's one down, 2 to go. Dango, you never beat me at objective and conservative.
Give up, Hank. I'm winning this thing.
You ain't winning nothing.
Bye, Uncle Hank. Bye, Dale. I'm gonna drop my resume off a few places. Enjoy your little game.
You mean I did all this for nothing?
Hey, Dad, can I have a beer now?
Damn it, Bobby, no, you cannot have a beer. Whatever. Sure, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice one, Just know, this is the longest video I ever make it. I think this is gonna be 1 hour.
Everything about it started out wrong. My mother and I were on one of our nightly walks. Even though we both lived together, we were both busy at our respective jobs and didn't have a lot of free time.
Why
So the
would
walk
you
was the only
so
opportunity we had to stay connected with each other. And despite how late we would go out, we never...
Hold up. Wait. 2 things was that. 2 things was Bobby. 3 things was Subin. That's lady. And that all I'm watching.
1 4 things was dancing lady.
You forgot. For you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
12. Okay, I believe it's true, eh?
Yeah.
Because that dancing lady.
12? Alright.
Because
never ran into any trouble. In fact, it was usually...
It was what? But either way, watching this video for Masa. Wait. Oh, the whole my friend dancing a little bit. Yes, of course he's on the stupid jackass.
Safe and relaxing. However, things turned out different that night. My mother and I were walking down our usual path when a distant silhouette of a figure appeared on the street. Even from far away, I was getting strange vibes from them, but I knew my mother's eyesight wasn't as good as mine, so I chose not to interrupt what she was saying at the time I mentioned it. I didn't want to stress her out over what might be nothing. Unfortunately, as we got closer, it became clear that there was definitely something not right about this woman. She wasn't walking anywhere. She was just dancing erratically. The woman had her arms stretched out and did these weird jerk motions with her feet. It became unsettling real quick when I realized she was doing it without anyone for an audience. When I looked over my shoulder at my mother's face, it was apparent that she was visibly disturbed, a look I haven't seen her make before. I was utterly terrified as I shifted my eyes back at the woman, saying, "What?
Is that woman okay?
She must be filming a TikTok or something."
I still don't understand what that means.
Don't worry about it, Mom. She should be done by the time we pass her. My best hope was that she was making some kind of dance video. Otherwise, there was no explanation for what she was doing, aside from being a crackhead or just a straight-up lunatic. As we got closer, I was waiting for her to stop dancing and pick up her phone, which she had propped up somewhere, but it never happened. She never moved from that spot, and she never turned around to face us. She just kept dancing. Finally, I got the feeling that we shouldn't go any farther. We stopped walking and stood there, somehow mesmerized, watching this woman continue with her dance. She didn't seem to have any intention of stopping anytime soon. Excuse me, ma'am, what's going on? Is everything okay? Just then, the woman stopped dancing and went totally motionless with her back still turned on us.
T-pause it.
Screamed at the top of her lungs, ripping her vocal cords so loud that it made my ears ring. Neither myself or my mother could move a muscle. We just stood there watching the lady dance and contort. I felt like if either one of us moved our feet just an inch, it would set something off. So I stared her down and tried to make human contact with her. I don't know what savior complex I was riding, but for a moment, it almost seemed like it would work. She was unarmed and at a distance. And even though she was panting and growling like an animal, I could have sworn there was a look in her face, menacing as she was, that said there was a regular person in there somewhere. Before I knew it, she was looking at us and murmuring the words, "I am the master of death."
You're the what?
Master of death!
I need your mother's soul.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I need to resurrect the king of Serbia. Get in.
King of Serbia?
The woman started inching her way towards us as my mother backpedaled in fear. But then, all hell broke loose. My will came crashing down, and suddenly the woman pulled out a knife in each hand. The woman then charged at us, breaking straight into a full sprint. I knew it would only be a matter of seconds before she closed the gap, so I thought fast and picked up my mother. I carried her over my shoulder as I ran for my life in the other direction. The fear coursing through my body was unbelievable. I was so sure that she would catch up to us. I kept running as fast as I could until I was exhausted. But no matter how tired I was, I didn't plan to stop. I just kept running. However, she never did catch up. I ran until I got home, and I hurried inside the house and locked everything up in case we'd been followed. The weird thing is that my mother was watching the whole chase, and said the woman basically vanished as soon as we rounded the first corner. That, combined with the way she moved, makes me think there was something more than just unusual going on with her. It was like all her movements engaged every single muscle in her body. I want to say that there was some kind of inhibitor switch in her brain that got turned off. But when I see her running towards me in my nightmarish memory, it looks inhuman. I ended up writing about it and posting this experience on social media when it happened. I don't know how it was, but it somehow became a huge internet phenomenon. It even resurfaced an old survey about something called the dancing shadow, which is supposedly the ghost of a woman who died in an extra twisted real-life version of Romeo and Juliet. According to the legend, one of the main things you're never supposed to do if you encounter a woman like that is to interact with her or help her in any way, which is exactly what the bone did that night. Given that, I must be very lucky to have gotten out of that situation alive. Since then, lots of other people in Serbia have since claimed that they've seen her too, but I don't know if all those reports are true. Unfortunately, I think it was a joke on TikTok that big sighting of the Serbian dancing lady. I bet some of them are true, however.
Yeah, Leo,
never
look how you doing this.
Could have been her,
Run
which
it.
means she could still be out there. I don't think anybody came quite as close to becoming her victim as me and my mother. This story is inspired by an incident that happened to a man in a community blog form. The man claims to have a chilling encounter with a dancing lady while walking with his mother one night. As they noticed a figure dancing in the distance, the lady suddenly charged towards him, uttering profanities and proclaiming herself to be the ambassador of death. The woman then goes on to insist that the man's mother's life was required for an ancient ritual to resurrect the king of Serbia. According to some recent reports since, the woman has been apprehended due to her disturbing behavior, but others claim that the woman had eluded arrest because authorities had a hard time locating her.
We have to be in Serbia to do that, dumbass. Now why be a freaking game?
Don't look at me before. Don't look at me door. Okay, back at me. I'm going to pass it on.
3 a.m. No, not at all. 3 a.m. is a good time. The perfect time to take what's mine. No! I have to get a hold of myself. It's not right. It's not me. I'm not that kind of person. Yes, I want one just like her. She's the perfect victim. And then she'd be my little plaything. My perfectly helpless toy to do whatever I want with.
Hi, Ross.
No.
I am not taking this
Man, come on, fight the urge.
Well, you know I said that when I go home. You said that?
I want to satisfy it. Well, you can't. I said get a grip. Again. No, you can't make me. Just look. You should break your own mirror. It's bad luck. Look at yourself. All you want in this world is to take a beautiful young girl with a bright future and rip her away from everyone she loves, just so you can turn her into an object of your pleasure. That's not true. Stop lying. You want to watch them suffer. You want to be the demented sicko that inflicts the agony upon them. No, I don't want to do that to anybody. You're lying,
And you know it. Just admit that you're a sick freak who wants to hurt people. It'll all be so much easier if you would just be honest with yourself. Or at least be honest to me. You wouldn't lie to me, would you? What the hell do you want from me? Let all your anger out. Just leave me alone. Say, what do you want to do to those girls outside? I want to do something to them. Be more specific. I want to snatch them up and keep them captive. Tell me more. I want to do things to them until they can't remember what it was like to live a normal life anymore. Yes, more. I want to film everything so I can watch it over and over again so I never forget. Yes. Now, go do it. What the hell are you doing? Somebody help me!
Remember when you said milk and a mirror
Go, bring me the sweetest one you can find. Yes, anything for you.
Kids, this is made for you, but listen, don't do that. Ricky and Mary is bad luck. And Ricky and Mary is bad luck, yes, no?
Ken, what are you doing with a knife?
Nothing. Nothing. I was just gonna go do some gardening. I guess I grabbed a knife instead of a trowel by accident.
I don't believe you. You're lying.
No, I'm not. I swear.
I know when you're lying. Why can't you just be honest?
Just get the hell out of my way!
Just put the knife away, Ken. You don't want to do this now.
Just shut up! Sick and tired of you always trying to interfere with whatever I'm doing! Just get out of my way before I make an example of you! I've got one all ready for you.
He's a shit boy head looking. Okay, stop it. Stop, she. Stop doing anything except flop.
Go get the camera.
This story was inspired by the notorious real-life Ken and Barbie killers. The woman's name was Carla, and the husband was Paul. They were a couple notorious for multiple slayings and assaults of various individuals between 1990 and 1992, including Carla's own sister. The couple had an eerie resemblance in appearance to Ken and Barbie, which is why the media and internet dubbed them as such. The couple have since been sentenced for their crimes. However, the woman has been released from prison since 2005, which sparked the public outrage. She has since been remarried, as the man is still behind bars.
Drop those bits of balls!
Some people are looking at the shit what the one who's looking at.
A high school in a really small town. Everybody in our grade knew each other and was friendly with one another for the most part. But there was this one kid in particular that was always causing problems. I'll just say his name was Hallowen. He was a really tall and skinny guy with long greasy hair like he was trying to look like Ash from Pokemon or something. His facial structure was super long and weird too. And he always had an expression that made him look angry and on edge all the time. He was one of those kids that had severe anger management problems and would snap if provoked in the slightest to throw a massive temper tantrum. Colin was frightening and easy to provoke too. Sometimes, all it took was somebody looking him in the eye in a slightly wrong way. That's why most people wouldn't even look at him at all, because they were all too afraid that he would take it personally. The guy had a long history of acting inappropriately, as he was known for cursing at his classmates, school employees, and at one point urinated outside the school. I managed to avoid any serious interactions with Colin for the longest time, but eventually I had a couple close calls. In the last few weeks before summer, our school would always have an ice cream truck park outside right after class let out. They called it a sweet treat to beat the heat, and unsurprisingly, it was really popular with everyone, especially since all the ice cream was offered at a discount for the students. Right after class, everyone would rush to get in line, where they'd be stuck waiting in the heat for a long time. I always made sure I was one of the first to line up, just in case the truck ran out of ice cream before I got a chance to get any. One day, I ran out and got to be second in line, on account of being a pretty fast runner. I was psyched because I only had to wait for one other person to get through, and then I would get mine. Unfortunately, after a few seconds, something really disturbing happened.
Karen, did you watching this? That is for you and yeah, he's sniffing and going like a ping pong.
Over my neck. It was like a slobbering bulldog drooling on me. When I turned around, my heart skipped a beat as I saw Colin. I remember seeing him stand right there, glaring at me with the meanest face ever. It was so enraged, with his eyebrows so pointed it almost looked ridiculous. Like he was a little kid upset about not getting the toy he wanted. It wouldn't have been so unsettling if we were in elementary school, but we were in high school, and it was Colin. Somebody who would actually act on that emotion.
Is everything...
I was here first!
Calm down, dude. We're both at the front of the line.
Don't tell me to calm down!
All right, man. You can have my spot.
No, people who touch should go to the back of the line!
Okay, dude. Fine, I'm going.
He would then point towards the back of the line like I was a dog. Of course, this was extremely embarrassing, but I didn't want to get on Colin's bad side. I might be a fast runner, but I never got into a fight, and I didn't want my first one to be with an unhinged psycho. By the time I got to the back, I had gone from second to 32nd. However, after waiting there for a while in the beating sun with no shade, I finally got back up to the truck for them to be all out of ice cream for the day. I was pretty ticked off, as I knew I'd fairly gotten there before almost everyone else, and I just got muzzled out by Colin because he couldn't accept the fact that he'd rightfully lost to me in a foot race. But then I saw Colin sitting on a bench, finishing up his ice cream while looking at me with an infuriating, smug expression on his face, and I got more upset and said something under my breath, which totally set Colin off.
Freaking jerk.
What did you say to me? Get off of me! Hey!
On that day, I was lucky there was a teacher to stop Colin before he did anything more. I knew he was going to have more issues with me because of it. I casually exited and began making my way home. The weird thing was that the whole next day in all the classes I had with him, Colin didn't say anything.
Subscribe to Scary Halloween because he's the one who made these animations.
Not to run into him. And luckily, I went through all of my classes without him getting on my case. When it came time to get in line for ice cream, I didn't bother racing to the front. I took my time and got in near the back. But at least this time, I was sure I'd get something and not get turned away. Despite being in the back of the line, something ended up happening that would haunt me for the rest of my life. I heard something and turned to look, only to see Colin sprinting toward me. He charged right into me so hard, tackling me to the concrete. I managed to keep my footing, but Colin still had me by the collar. Before Colin could knock my teeth out, I pushed him off and ran the hell out of there. His hyper-aggressive, unhinged mentality made me more scared of him than ever. Moments later, Colin was reported to the office. But the most disturbing thing of all is what they found in his backpack when they searched it. There was 2 drawings he had made in a psychotic chicken scratch style with a bunch of stick figures in it. There was one that was supposed to be him, sawing the heads off all the others who had X's for eyes. It doesn't take a genius to figure out the intention behind the drawing. Colin was immediately suspended for 10 days over it. I'm glad he had that time to cool down over the whole thing. Otherwise, I'm sure things would have been much worse. This story was inspired by an incident that happened in 2020. A student was suspended for a total of 10 days for drawing 2 pictures of several stick figures with X's for eyes. The student's mother had once instructed him to draw comic strips when he was angry instead of getting physical with anyone. The school later sent the student to the office after shoving another student who had earlier cut him in line while participating in a class activity. The student's drawings are shown below and were reportedly drawings he alluded to his classmates.
Well, so are you friendly guy?
Not a family guy. Go because you don't
I was
family
born
guys.
cursed, forced to
Nah,
be
you know
part of this
them
family
too.
of ingrates, the Griffins. Living with them is miserable enough, but something even worse has been happening in this household.
But why
I
you
simply
looking
cannot
so?
sleep.
Yes,
at
the real
first,
one.
I thought I was experiencing insomnia, but recently it's become more than that. I fear something may be seriously wrong.